When you were living with Ric Flair, is it true that he almost wanted to quit the business at one point?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're at Vern Gagne's training camp. It was in beginning of October, and he was having a fight with his wife, Leslie Goodman, at the time, and he says, I can't continue. He says, Ken, I'm going to quit this business. He says, it's too much, between the wife and this and that. And I says, hey, Rick, I said, you son of a bitch. I said, we've lived together off and on for the past year and a half. We went to I was trained for the Pan American Games in '71 down in Kelly, Columbia. I trained for the Olympic Games out in Munich, Germany, and I stood by you all this time. I said, you're going to quit. I said, no, you're not going to quit. I said, you were made for this business. You are not going to quit. And the next day I had him back in training camp, of course, so that was, end of story there. But yeah, he was going to quit. And he was, he was frustrated, and I know about that stuff, with wives. I've been divorced 3 times, and I was never meant to be married, let's face it, I said that's why I'm divorced 3 times.
Memories of Tony Atlas.
Tony Atlas, great guy, a lot of problems. Hey, a lot of people that don't know about Tony. Tony was a hell of an artist. He'd carry his artistic papers and stuff in a big folder, and great charcoal. A great artist. And Tony was one of these guys that he had a great mind, but he never had direction. And he got messed up with a lot of people that weren't good for him, with drugs and stuff. I don't think Tony will mind that I said that, but because we all had our problems with drugs and stuff. Well, look at McMahon's record. Vince McMahon has had a track record as dismal, and so Tony just had bad direction. He got tied up with some of those guys in the Black Power movement back then. I'm not going to mention any names because they're all dead now anyway.
Go ahead.
But Tony was a great bodybuilder. I met him when he was 18 years old. I helped him break into the business down at the YMCA in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's the only place we had to train. They had a wrestling room at the YMCA in Charlotte, North Carolina. Well, Tony grew up in Roanoke, Virginia. I think he was state champion up there in high school his junior and senior year. He had just naturally big arms, big chest, bench press 500 pounds, like, 150 reps or something, maybe 500 reps, But Barry Darso,
yeah,
the Repo Man. How many times could Tony Atlas bench press 500 pounds? 100 or 200 times.
Yeah, he warmed up with 500.
Yeah. The kid was unbelievable. Yeah. Huh. He had no legs though.
No.
He couldn't squat 400.
They were ripped to the bone, but they were only 13 inches around.
Right, yeah. His arms and chest were bigger around than his thighs.
What about Ole Anderson? What are your memories of Ole?
Oh God, Ole. Ole was Ole Anderson. He's a Polak. His real name isn't Anderson. It's Walensky or something like that. He's a Polak. What can you say about Polish people? They leave Poland, they come over here to America, and they all become millionaires. What the heck? What can you say about Ole? Ole was a nasty person, and I love the guy though. Because he was nasty. He was just himself, and he was just a nasty bastard. Yeah.
How did you wind up working for Vince Sr.? And did you like working for him?
For who?
Vince Sr.
Vince Sr. was a diplomat. He worked right out of his shirt pocket. He didn't have lawyers and accountants, and if he did, they were all behind the scenes. But when you negotiated a contract with Vince Sr., it was honest. It was honorable, and you talk to him and say, well, you're going to be here 12 months or 18 months or whatever length of time, and believe me, it was to the day, to the hour, to the minute, to the second, and then you moved on.
How would you compare Vince Sr. to Vince Jr.?
Vince Jr. was just like the old man to begin with, then he turned out to be a prick because he got his lawyers involved, he got the accountants and the merchandising people and so on and so forth. It become a big business. And so this isn't against Vince Jr. You know, hey Junior, Vinny. I hated to be called Vinny or the Junior. But no, he. I really got along well with him for from 76 to 84, 85, and then he started making that big money. He really got the big money and a big head and everything. But that really didn't change my attitude towards him. You know, a lot of people. I've done a lot of interviews saying, you know, he's a fucking prick and this and that. And, well, he is a prick. I mean, you know, what the fuck? Hey, Vince, you are a prick. You know that. But only because he had to be, you know, business-wise. But personally, no, I still... I like his wife Linda. I like the two kids, you know, his daughter and his son. You know, I have no animosity towards the family whatsoever. But I loved his dad.
Right.
I loved his dad. It just, I mean, that'll never change. Yeah.
Memories of working with Bruno Sammartino.
Oh, great memory. Well, if it wasn't for Bruno, I'd never be in the WWF.
Really? Why is that?
Oh. I was wrestling in Charlotte, North Carolina for Jimmy Crockett Promotions at the time, and I called Bruno and talked to him, and they told Larry Zbyszko. You know, Larry Zbyszko grew up a few blocks from Bruno there in Pittsburgh, you know, and he told Larry, yeah, Patera calls me, but he never says anything. You know, what the heck? Yeah, I was a little embarrassed, you know, and not embarrassed, but shy. And, you know, but by this interview, you might not think that I was shy, but I was, you know, because, yeah, Bruno was one of my heroes growing up. And, you know, even though I went to the Pan American Games and the World's Strongest Men contests and Olympic Games and all this stuff, you know, you still have a certain amount of respect for people, you know. And, you know, just like Vince, you know. But Bruno hates Vince's guts, but yep. I dislike Vince, you know, for some of the shit that he pulled on me. You know, he might not think that he pulled some shit, but he did. You know, he treated me basically like shit. You know, I still felt that I was an asset. He treated me like a liability. You know, so Vince, go fuck yourself.
Right.
So, but anyway, yeah, Bruno was great to me, and you know, he told Vince Sr. that I'd be an asset to the WWF back in '76, and that's how I wound up coming back here. You know, he told the old man. The old man didn't know anything about me. You know, being in the Olympics, world's strongest man, and you know, great athlete and all this stuff. So I owe probably about 90% of my career to Bruno. Georgia Championship Wrestling. The first time I went down there, we had our interviews and wrestling on Saturday mornings, and there was no locker rooms. So the only shower there was in this office. Well, the office is owned by Ted Turner, but he's a communist. He even admits that he's a commie. And he made himself famous by marrying Jane Fonda, another communist. But anyway, I was taking a shower in his office one day, and I came out, and there's this guy with his feet up on the desk, and his hair was every which way. It was during the summer. And I said, "Hey, sir, I don't know who you are, but I wish you'd take your feet off my desk." And this is after I come out of the shower. I didn't know who the guy was. I was just kidding around. He turned around. It was Ted Turner. That's from 1974. What year was that? Yeah, 1974. It was in the fall of '74. He had just got through racing his yacht out in the Atlantic Ocean. I can't remember the name of his yacht. What was it? You remember the name of his yacht?
I don't know.
Courageous? Courageous, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. But anyway, he turned around, he recognized who I was. "Hey, the Olympic strongman Ken Patera." I said, "Hey, Ted." And so I reached out and shook his hand, stuff, introduced myself. Yeah, not nice guy at the time, but I didn't realize that he was going to turn into a commie. But yeah.